I want to bring on my man, JT Smith. We welcome him to the show. He's the creator of the Front Office News, also former writer of Bearcat Insider, and covers everything UC related. Guest on WCPO's Sports of All Sorts back in 2019 with Keenan Singleton. We welcome to the show, JT Smith. JT Smith, what's up, bro?
Chilling, man. What's going on?
Nothing much. How you doing, bro?
Can't complain, man. Can't complain.
So, JT, let's get right to it. Coach Luke Fickell said we didn't just beat a top 10 team, we beat a top 5 program. So you were there yesterday at Notre Dame. Talk about what a win like this can do for a team like the Bearcats, who are trying to become the first team to make the college football playoff, who aren't in a Power 5 conference. Talk about what a win like this can do for a team like the Bearcats.
Man, this game catapults the Bearcats because, all right, you come into the season, right? You lose to Georgia. Everybody's like, oh, XYZ, you didn't play for Georgia. But if people did the research, UC had 4 or 5 people that are NFL players that didn't play last year either, right?
Yeah.
But nobody just counts it because it's an SEC team. Neither here nor there, right? But coming to the season, you got to play Indiana. Indiana was the top 20 team coming to the season. They haven't been as strong as everybody expected. Still a good team, but just, falling on hard times. Notre Dame, transition year, but still a top 10 team. And they played both of them on the road. So it's like, all right, you in the AAC, you got to win those games. Otherwise, they're not going to get any respect because nobody cares about Temple. Nobody cares about UCF this year like they normally do. Just being real. Houston is pretty solid. Memphis is kind of slipping a little bit. So where can they get those big national wins? You know what I mean? So like this game, no matter what, puts the Bearcats on the map, because if looking at Notre Dame's schedule, they should honestly win out as long as they start Drew Pine. Yeah. And that should keep the Bearcats relevant. You know what I mean? As long as the Bearcats don't slip and lose to a team they shouldn't lose to, then they should be A-okay at the end of the year, unless they really, really, really don't want a G5 team to be in there. So see what happens.
So you were at the game yesterday, and it looked like a lot of Bearcat fans traveled to Notre Dame to support the Bearcats in this big-time matchup. So what exactly was the atmosphere like being at the game yesterday?
It was crazy. Actually, all right, so I'm in the booth, and it might have been like first quarter, and then the Bearcats crowd just like took over. And I was closer to the Bearcat section. So I was like, maybe I'm overhyping it in my head. So I'm like asking people like, man, y'all hear that? And they're like, man, this is crazy. So literally like I go down on the field, and then like they're like, man, literally they took over the field. Like they thought it was a home game for a second. Like even after their post game, they were like, look, man, I thought we were at Nippert.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So like it was crazy, like just to see, like it might have been 15,000 of the 80 or 77 they hold, probably like 15 to 20,000 that was Bearcats, because they were sprinkled in. They had a good section that was super red. Then they were sprinkled in like on the visitor side, like behind the Bearcats bench, and then they were sprinkled in over even to some of the Notre Dame side. So it probably was solid 15 for sure, like just eyeballing it. And literally, when I went on the field the last 5 minutes, dude, like you could just hear them. And like it's more, it's more Notre Dame fans in there than the UC people. And like they had it rocking, man. It was legit. And even I talked to some Notre Dame fans. I knew a few people. They were like, man, they showed us up in our own place. Like we had to try to step up our volume because of that. And that was like pure Notre Dame people. So that's how electric it was, man. It was crazy.
Yeah, coming into the game, Notre Dame, they had a 26-game home win streak.
Yeah.
And so I thought a key moment in the game, JT, came early on the Gardner interception. Notre Dame, they had drove the ball 69 yards, looking to take an early lead. Am I exaggerating how important that interception was from Gardner, in the end zone on that first drive of the game?
Nah, it was huge because they at least going to get 3 for sure. Like no ifs, ands, or buts. They were at the 6-yard line, 5-yard line when it happened. So like that was huge. It kind of gave them like that fresh breath of fresh air. You know what I mean? Like kind of relax. Okay, we good. After that, I feel like the defense really took off, really held them down. And but they were moving the ball pretty consistent, for them first 2 drives. I want to say, I think that was the second drive, right, on the interception.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, second drive, right? So they're moving the ball consistently a little bit. So I think after that, you saw the defense kind of clamp down, and then the offense start kind of moving the ball a lot better. I mean, did they score after that drive? Maybe not. I don't think they scored on that drive, but you just saw like they're like, okay, we can play with these boys after that pick, I feel.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was a key play in the game because I thought, coming into a hostile environment, playing the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, again, they had won 26 straight home games. Yeah. And I thought they were, going to go up 7-0, because we didn't want to have a repeat of what happened when the Bearcats played Indiana, against Indiana. They went up 14-0, but Notre Dame's better than Indiana. So that would have been a huge, hill to climb if they would have went down 7-0. And then, you never know what could have happened the rest of the game. I thought that was just a key play, JT.
Oh, for sure. I said I'll definitely back you up on that because you think about it. You go down. You don't want the Indiana thing to happen because Indiana 14, they were like pretty much the target in play from being knocked out, right? Yeah. Literally like knocked out. They could have they about to punt, possibly about to be going down 21-0 before half, but then they came down and scored. But you can't do that against Notre Dame because it's Notre Dame, right? Like no matter if they're down or not, it's Notre Dame. You on the road. Maybe at Nipper, you might could slip up a little bit like that, but on the road, and then they would have got rolling. The crowd would have got even crazier. They would have took the Bearcats crowd out of it because they made a big difference. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was almost like it was 60-40 because of how loud the Bearcats crowd was at the game. Like literally it was crazy. Like I'm telling you, man, we were talking in the booth. It was just like, dude, the Bearcats, they punking Notre Dame's fans like in their own stadium. And that's you don't hear that. And everybody even said like this was the loudest atmosphere in Notre Dame post-COVID.
So the Bearcats, they held Notre Dame scoreless until the 119 mark in the third quarter, and they held the Fighting Irish to its lowest total points, 13 of the year. I mean, the Fighting Irish, they scored 31 in the fourth quarter against Wisconsin the week before. And so defensively, the Bearcats forced 3 interceptions, and they held the Fighting Irish to only, 6 of 17 on third down. So how impressed were you with the defense in this game?
Man, super impressive, man. Impressed, actually, because, you think about it, just it's a top-tier team. Do you think they're going to, be pressed you going against your old defensive coordinator on the road? You want to show them that why you leave me, right? Because you recruited me. You see we were dogs with you. Yeah. But then you could try to do too much. And if you do too much, you might be in a wrong gap. You might try to jump a route. You shouldn't be trying to jump because you're like, hey, why you leave me? You know what I mean? Kind of, you know how it is. But just to do that on the road against Notre Dame and not think okay, this is Notre Dame. They're gonna be the bully. You know what I mean? Like they were the hammer all day, not the nail. You right? Like as you tell young kids, like, hey, be the hammer. Yeah. That's what you see was like all day. Like they just was like, all right, we can play with these boys. Like, and that's what they did, man. I mean, even Mayer was a little banged up, but even they did a good job. Like every play that he had, even if it was a big play, Bearcats were like a split second away from either knocking the ball down or, like they weren't letting them just abuse him like he was doing to other people. Like most of the time he gets so much separation, it's crazy, but they were on him. Like, Brian Cook had a play down the sideline, I want to say that second half where it was like textbook coverage, man. He used the sideline as his advantage and he wouldn't have tripped. I think he would have picked the ball. It was just great coverage. Like, and a lot of teams can't match up against Mayer like that. And that's what the Bearcats can do and, make it tough. Yeah.
Also, I thought Notre Dame, they brought in Tyler Buckner, the freshman quarterback. And so how did you feel like the Bearcats defense contained him? Because they brought him in, because he's more mobile, than Payne and Cohen. So how did you think they did contain Buckner?
They did good against Buckner. The thing is, I'll get to that. Like I told everybody before the season started, Cone plays, the Bearcats will win convincingly. But last week I got nervous watching them play against Wisconsin, right? Because he gets hurt. The Pine kid comes in. I'm like, man, Pine, he looked the part. Like I feel like the game is going to be a tougher game if Pine plays. Yeah. So when he trotted out Cone, I was like, okay, we should be good, right? But then he was doing decent. But like when he move him off, if he has to move off his pocket or move off his plane, like if it's a 3-step drop and he has to do 4 or have to move over, Normally the throw is going to be pretty bad. But when they put in the Buckner kid over Pine, I was like, I'll take it. Even though like Buckner is like the faster kid, he's supposed to be like a 4-star recruit. But the Pine kid just got like that Like, I don't know if he's going to be a pro guy, but he looks like a good college quarterback, right? Like, came into a game last week. They were only up 3, didn't get rattled after having the fumble. He didn't really look rattled too much against us either. They scored all their points with him in the game. Yeah. So it was like, I was happy that Kelly didn't put him in earlier, but I still think the defense would have held up. I just think it would have been a different game. They couldn't have had those 2 missed field goals and that strip fumble, right? If they would have had Pine, they would have had to play cleaner and get points on every drive.
Right. I misspoke earlier. The Bearcats didn't have 3 interceptions. They had 2 interceptions and 1 fumble. Let's transition. Let's talk about the offense. And so after the game, head coach Lou Fickell, he talked about how, Derek, has Desmond Ritter basically, they did a good job of eliminating, Desmond in the run game. Yeah. But in this game, Desmond Ritter, he went 19 of 32, threw for 297 passing yards, had 1 touchdown. And then he only had 26 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. So again, Fickell talked about that in the post-game press conference, how they eliminated him from being in the run game. But what did you think of Ritter's performance in this game?
I mean, it was solid. It was what you wanted. Like, I literally talked to a fan. They thought the stage was going to be too big for him. And I was like, it's not. Like, if you watch Georgia, it wasn't because Ritter was playing bad, right? We just didn't make certain adjustments. And then, Hudson got hurt. But, like, people don't pay attention because it's UC, right? So they're like, we playing this team. They ask you, did Notre Dame recruit some of these players, et cetera, et cetera? But it's like, nah, he got dogs over there. Like, he got dogs, but he played good. Like, his deep ball, I think he was 6 of 9 for 15-yard throws or more.
Okay.
This game. So, like, last year, that was like his Achilles heel per se. Like, everybody's like, all right, Ritter can run, Ritter can throw the intermediate, he could throw the short ball, but the deep ball, he was a little flaky. Then he started hitting a little bit more. And then you see all the work he's done in the offseason. And then, I mean, just to be able to come to Notre Dame and see one-on-ones and make those throws. I mean, Alec Pierce had two bombs. He had 2 40-yard passes. Yeah. He had over 144 yards. Lenny Taylor at that last drive had a 34-yard pass, and he led him right into the open space. It was just like perfect throw. Yeah. And I mean, he missed the one, but that was because of pressure. It could have caught a hit in the head, but that one, if you'd have let it more towards the pylon, not the pylon, but the middle of the field, I think Pierce would have got another one earlier in the game. But he made all the big throws, man. I mean, you can't say that you see his improvement, right? Like, at first, from first year, he probably have made his first read, then he's running. To sophomore year, to struggling, like, where he's like just running. He really couldn't throw that much. He had that shoulder injury, but he wasn't making no noise. I mean, he had like 150 yards throwing, but then he have 100-some yards rushing. So it kind of, counterbalances itself to last year, where he started off struggling, then he hit stride, and he hasn't looked back since. Like, and he's just even gotten better and better. Like, going against Notre Dame, going against somebody that knows you, like, just think about it. You got probably arguably a top 5 pick at safety. He went at him. Got his touchdown on Hamilton, from Trey. Trey is like 5'8". You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you take a chance against Hamilton, just shows the type of confidence you got. Like, I don't think he would have been able to make those type of plays last year or the year before, for sure.
A couple more questions for you. So at the half, the Bearcats were winning 17-0.
Yeah.
But I thought the Bearcats should have been leading by more, JT. Like, I got the feeling watching the game, like, man, I feel like the Bearcats, should be blowing out the Fighting Irish. I mean, that's just kind of the feeling that I got. Did you get that same kind of feeling as you were sitting there watching the game?
I thought it should have been 21-0, like that last drive. I didn't like the play call after the thing that hurt them when they got kicked the field goal after the fumble recovery. Like, all right, you got to 17, you got to score 6, right? And they only got to 3, but they got that play where the illegal lineman was downfield, or eligible lineman was downfield. And I looked at the replay, he really was too far down the field. So it wasn't like a homer call. At first you're like, man, let's kind of job him, right? But I didn't like the thing.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I thought they was trying to job him, but then I looked at it. We looked at it like, Tunzel went too far down. He jumped too far down. He should have just held a little bit, but it happens. And then it was a hell of a play call. But I didn't like the third down play call with the 1-step drop. The 1 drop like every play that you notice, like especially the first half, every one that it was just Dez get it, take one step and go. They were jumping those routes. Like he almost had like that was that slant. It was another play that was a down and out, maybe later in the game that the kid I thought was going to be a pick six that went over a dude's head.
Yeah.
But I didn't like those. It was all off the one step drops. But once they adjusted and stopped doing those one step drops, they were cool. But that play, I wish they would have did a different play. That one step drop just made it too easy for the cornerback. And Marcus Freeman defense, they're going to be aggressive. They're not going to play soft. And I just think he keyed on those, and that you saw it. Number 5 wasn't playing. He made a few plays that were like legit. So
yeah. So
I
Payne,
got 21-0.
Yeah. So Payne, he led the Notre Dame on an 8-play, 80-yard drive that cut the Bearcat lead to 4. They had trimmed the lead to 17 to 13. And so I thought the drive of the game, JT, came in the fourth quarter.
Oh, sure.
And so it was, like I said, 17-13. And Ritter, he led the Bearcats down the field on a 75-yard drive with 3 of 3 on that drive. And then he had a 36-yard strike to Leonard Taylor, which was a key play on the drive, and capped it off with a 6-yard touchdown run. How important was that drive, to move them up, to score and kind of separate themselves to go up 11 at that point in the game?
Dude, honestly, we're living in a moment, of course, but it might be the most important drive, especially of the Fickell era.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I ain't going to overhype it, like, just because, like, them winning this game, more opportunities can happen for other bigger drives. But that one, I think, was the most important drive, especially the Fickell era, because you think about it. If they go 3 and out right there, Notre Dame got the momentum. Pine is cooking.
Yeah.
And you're on the road. So your crowd's gonna not be as hyped as the other crowd. You're not gonna be able to overdrown 60,000, even as good as they've been doing. Yeah. So the game's on the line. Then imagine they don't score, they got a punt. Notre Dame has to get a touchdown. It can't go for 3. And they're gonna go for it. And he got it going. And like the time, imagine if Notre Dame scores, there's not enough time for you to answer. Like, then you've been dominating this whole game just to lose. Like, so it was huge, man. He made all the throws he needed to make. Stay calm. It's that veteran leadership, man. It's like, as Fickell said in the post game, it's like it's the Ritter effect. And it's real. Like, it's real. Like, that dude talked stuff before the game, backed it up, came into Notre Dame, got the dub. Like, hey, you got to tip your hat to him.
Yeah, and I thought watching the game, JT, and let me know if you agree with this. I thought watching the game, I didn't really even think yesterday the Bearcats played their best football. Like, I really didn't. Like, and so like watching the game, I'm thinking like, man, they're not even playing their best football. And for them to be able to win that type of game in that type of environment, that was probably the most impressive thing about the win yesterday against the Fighting Irish.
Dude, you're right. Because I was thinking like, covering the team, you get attached, and I'm a Bearcat fan. Like, just if I detach myself, for sure. But you like, man, they didn't even play great. Like, you know what I mean? They played good, and they did play better than they played against Notre Dame. But you got to say that. I mean, not Notre Dame, but Indiana. My bad.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
They didn't play like they didn't capitalize on every opportunity, which is crazy. And they dominated the game for real. Yeah. Like, you can't, like, if you watch that game and you didn't think Cincinnati was the best team on the field, then I can't trust your opinion. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at all. Like, just being real with the whole situation. But like, they left mass points on the board.
They did.
Just think about it. Because you don't want to kick field goals. So you get inside the 5-yard line and you got to kick a field goal. That's a win, a loss. You know what I mean? Then you miss 2 chip shots. That's rough. You miss a 30-yarder, 37-yarder. You can't miss those. You can't miss them. Like, you just can't. Unless they're getting blocked, you can't miss those. Like, that just can't happen.
Yeah.
Yep. Ritter has to feel that guy coming off the backside. Because that was a huge play, and that's how they got their first points. But at the same time, you think about all those miscues you could think about. False starts here, little stuff there. I mean, they didn't play a perfect game. They played a gritty game. They showed they can push Notre Dame around, which people probably didn't expect. And I mean, they definitely were physical, and that's what I think got them to win. And Notre Dame isn't a soft team, so I'm not even trying to say Notre Dame's soft or nothing like that, but just that I don't think people expected the Bearcats to have that kind of physicality against somebody like Notre Dame.
So, I got to go here, JT. So,
Go for it.
2009, Brian Kelly departs Cincinnati and goes to Notre Dame. And, it was let's just say, when he left, there were a lot of Cincinnati Bearcats fans and people here in the Cincinnati area that weren't happy at the way Brian Kelly departed the University of Cincinnati. So how, getting a win like this against their former coach, and Brian Kelly, JT, talk about the significance of that.
Dude, that I can't even put into words how significant it is right now. Like, you might have to holler at me a couple of days, because just think about it, man. This dude so Brian Kelly is it's a roller coaster, right? So it's a roller coaster. That's how I'm gonna put the analogy. He put Bearcats at the highest peak, right? You go to the Orange Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Their top 3 team almost made to a national championship. If Dominican still almost beat Texas by himself, and maybe the Bearcats playing the championship, and that would have been crazy, right? Telling all the players that, I ain't going nowhere, to their face, and then dipping on them before the bowl game. And so just the way he left, he knew he was going to leave, but it was just the way he left, the way he left. Yeah. You know what I mean? So people kind of took it. I understand, but he definitely put a lot of stuff in place while they're here. But to beat him on his field where he left the Bearcats for, you can't write a better story. Man, I don't even know. And then it's almost like a Disney movie almost. You know what I mean? This dude laugh you at the altar. You know what I mean? With your white dress on, and then you get to come back with his new piece. And beat him up. You know what I'm saying? You get to punch him in the mouth in front of his new woman, right? So you can't write a better story for real. You know what I mean? And the story isn't over. So you imagine their old coach could possibly put them in a college football playoff.
Yeah, crazy. It's crazy, man.
It don't even sound real. If it happens, it's probably gonna be a 30 for 30. You know what I'm saying? Or at least we need to make it a local 30 for 30. I'm gonna put that out there now. We need to, if that happens, we gotta we gotta do it. I don't know. Some people that do videography, we might have to make that happen, dog.
For sure. Head coach Luke Fickell, he's now 39-13 in 5 seasons at Cincinnati.
Yep.
The 5th best in program history, the 5th best winning percentage. So he's won 75% of his games being a head coach, of the Bearcats. Yep. So talk about Luke Fickell and how he has turned around this Bearcat program, because for a while, JT, it was all about basketball. Here in Cincinnati with the Bearcats. Kenyon Martin, Bob Huggins. It was all about UC basketball. Yeah. Now we got a legitimate UC program, and that's because we got Luke Fickell. So talk about Luke Fickell as a coach and how he's turned around the program.
Dude, Fickell has been exactly what the Bearcats need, especially after Tuberville. We used to cover Tuberville together. And Tubbs used to just want to play golf for real. You know what I'm saying? He ran the program down. They were on the rise. Even Butch Jones at least kept it afloat, and they were still winning, conference titles and winning at least 9 and 10 games. Otherwise he wouldn't have got to Tennessee. But Tubbs came and just stole the money, just was chilling. Yeah. And Fick came and resurrected him. Because right now it feels like I feel like it's hard to say this, but I feel like it's definitely on the same level as Kelly. And it's even better because he stayed longer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he could have dipped left for Michigan State. He could have left for Florida State, West Virginia. So it's not like money isn't the whole thing for him. That's what makes him a little different. Because I'm pretty sure Michigan State was going to pay him whatever they paid Mel Tucker, and I think he's making 4.5 million. And then I know what Florida State was trying to throw him in the bag. You know what I mean? So it's it ain't just money. So he's come change the culture, change recruiting, because mass kids used to go. The positive art, this is where I'm going to go. My bad, I'm going to ramble a little bit. But
are you good?
The thing about it is Ohio State. As much as UC fans always want to dog Ohio State, the good thing about Ohio State for UC fans is they're national. They're like Clemson. They're like Alabama. They're like, you know what I mean? Like that brand, right? The good thing, back in the day, Ohio State always would take the top 12 to 15 Ohio prospects, no matter what, right? Now, since they had a national brand, they only taking 5 to 8 every year. So you got all those real good players still in Ohio, like, hey, I still want to play major ball. And then Fickell's tapping in on that. And that's why, like, Michigan State made that run. They were getting Ohio kids. Iowa State, reason why they got some love. They got David Montgomery from Cincinnati, from their own backyard, which, you know what I'm saying, Tubbs didn't even blink at, right? And he turned that program around. Like, Kentucky's decent now because they getting Ohio boys.
Beat Florida last night.
Yeah, exactly. Because they sneaking Ohio boys out. But that's what Fickell is he's kind of closed the fence around. Like, he's like, all right, I'm gonna get these Ohio boys. I'm gonna get the best Indiana kids. I'm gonna get the best Kentucky kids. I'm gonna go to Michigan, get them boys from the inner city, Sauce Gardner. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get them, come on down, let's play ball. So, like, he's you know what I'm saying, he's gotten around like a radius around like the tri-state, and that's what's helping the Bearcats out. And it's not all about money for him. Of course he wants to get paid, but just because you hear his name popping up, like, he's not like the other guys where you knew, like, hey, he out of here on the first thing smoking. It's a few jobs he gonna dip for, but it ain't like automatic. Like, as soon as you hear his name pop up, it's almost laughable damn near right now.
Yeah, for sure. And so last question for you, JT. Right. We know the Bearcats, they got to go undefeated to be able to get into the college football playoff.
Oh, ifs, ands, or buts.
Like, they got to go undefeated. And, looking at their upcoming schedule, they got Temple coming in here at Nippert on Friday. Then they got UCF. November 6th, they got a matchup against Tulsa. November 20th against SMU. Yeah. So when you look at the rest of their schedule, the rest of the season, you see anywhere where they might have a slip up or a trap game that could derail their hopes of getting into the college football playoff?
Okay, I'm glad you asked this question. So the game that scares me the most right now is Tulane before Halloween on the road, October 30th.
Yeah. Because
on the road, it's going to be like 10 people there, right? So then you got New Orleans, just New Orleans, the vibes in New Orleans itself. Tulane isn't a bad team either. They're kind of like on a come up. Then they almost beat Oklahoma. Was that them? Or was that? I think so. I think they almost beat Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like, they only lost to them by like 5 points.
They did.
But
I remember that.
Their record isn't as good as you probably expect, but they're like a team that's kind of on the come up, and it's on the road. I could see that being like an interesting game. I think UC should win for sure, but that's the game that scares me. I need SMU to keep winning because they're going to try to disrespect. If Notre Dame loses another game, even if you see goals undefeated, they're going to still try to disrespect them because they're G5.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you got it is hard to get, excited. You beat Temple, you know what I mean? You beat Navy, you beat Tulsa, you know what I'm saying? So they're going to throw that against them, even though they're a top tier team, because they don't have, the good thing is if Houston keeps winning, them and Houston should be on a collision course to have maybe a top 15 game at the end of the season at the AAC championship.
Yeah.
Maybe SMU is undefeated when they play them at home for the last home game, hopefully. That's the kind of their best case scenario to kind of get some more top 25 wins, because UCF, everybody expected them to be dope this year, and they dropped the ball.
Yeah, for sure. He's JT Smith of the Front Office News. JT, go ahead and shout out your social media so everybody can go follow your platform, bro.
All right, cool. Appreciate it, man. All right. The mass platforms to follow, man. So make sure y'all hit up thefrontofficenews.com, then make sure you hit up Front Office News on Instagram and Twitter. Get my personal page on Twitter, _JT_Smith. Make sure you guys check it out, man. We got a lot of stuff. Going. A lot of post game recaps, pictures, all that good stuff, man. Check it out, like it. Give me some good, bad reviews, whatever, man. But check it out, share it, tell a friend and follow it. So
for sure, JT, it's always a pleasure, bro. I'm gonna definitely bring you on the show later on, as we get later into the season, talk some Bearcat football, talk some NFL football too, because my Packers beat up on your Niners last week.
Hey, they did. I'm not even mad about that though, because I was like, bruh, I know A-Rod was gonna be on fire, and he was, But when we had them injuries, I knew it was a wrap. Like I needed Norman and Williams to stay healthy. I think we could have pulled it off. But I ain't really tripping. I ain't tripping because we've been having our way with the Packers lately. Besides,
y'all have. Like I got respect for the Niners, man. I don't disrespect the Niners.
Yeah, I ain't gonna disrespect the Packers either, man. Yeah. I wanted y'all to trade. When y'all was mad at Aaron, I wanted y'all to trade him to the 49ers.
I know.
I'm like, hey, bro, give him them picks.
I have a quick question for you about the Niners. So do you believe that Kyle Shanahan should roll with Trey Lance, man, over Jimmy Garoppolo? Because there's a lot of 49er fans that feel like Trey Lance gives them a better, opportunity to be true Super Bowl contenders.
The thing that hurts, like I want to see Lance like flat out, but at the same time, if we winning, I just roll with it. Like right now we 2-1. Now if we start slipping and get to 500, like you might as well let the young boy go. Yeah, for real. I think he does give them a better chance because Jimmy don't make the throw that you need for real. Like that deep ball, he don't make it. Like that play, I don't know. My man made a heck of a play though. Jair Alexander made a heck of a play going out of the zone.
He did,
but still the ball was
Jair nice though. JT Jair nice. He nice.
He definitely nice.
Nice, man. Yeah.
He made a hell of a play because he wasn't even supposed to be there, but the ball was hanging up. Like even if Jair didn't make that play, Kittle gonna have to make a Superman play to even have a chance to make it because the ball was just underthrown so bad to me. But I might be nitpicking on him too. But I'm still pissed at him missing Sanders in the Super Bowl. So
yeah, you ain't over that. You ain't over that.
Ain't over that, bro. He had it. Like, no, he beat double team. And then you airmail it. Like, come on, bro. I'd rather you throw a pick than that.
Yeah, imagine if he would have completed that pass, how different we would view how we would view Garoppolo differently.
Oh, yeah.
And how Mahomes wouldn't have, a Super Bowl on his resume. Like, just imagine if he completed that pass.
That one play changed everybody's thing. Like, Garoppolo, like, now I'm like, he's Andy Dalton to me now. And then, Mahomes is freaking Aaron Rodgers now. You know what I'm saying? like all on one play, bro. Like, that's how sensitive football is. Like, one play can change everything. It's just like, to think about it when, like Eli Manning, bro. Like he be playing he used to play skip in the regular season, but he had those 2 Super Bowl runs. So everybody's like Eli Manning, like overall, like his resume. I mean, without those, like he just
I don't know if you got my video. I mean, I just recently posted a video talking about Eli. I don't think Eli's a Hall of Famer. That's just
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
He'll get it, but his name gonna get it.
Exactly. His last name will get
his last name. He a Manning, like
exactly.
So he gonna get it. But you take away just those playoff runs, bro, like he damn near Joe Flacco.
I agree. Completely agree. I agree. Like he's a great playoff performer, but Eli has never been transcendent. Okay. No. I say that all the time. Like he's not consistent like Drew Brees. He's not a great passer like Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Okay. And he's not as great as Tom Brady. Like, but again, I get it. Like he is a 2-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. But I always even thought that Phillip Rivers was better than Eli Manning, JT. That's just my opinion. Like,
I mean, you can argue that for sure. You can argue that. It just Phillip used to always throw the pick that in that last drive, though. That's the only thing about Phillip. Phillip got the stats, but when it comes this money time, he definitely throwing that pick. Like every game. Like that's why the Chargers always be 7-9, 8-8.
Always.
Because he be like, all right, we about to make this game-winning drive. He gonna make a couple of throws and he gonna throw one up. Like, dog, you should just take the sack.
For sure. He's JT Smith of the Front Office News. Go and follow the Front Office News on all platforms and give you all the Bearcats insider information on the Front Office News. JT, I appreciate you coming on the show, bro. We definitely gonna talk later on in the season on some Bearcat football with some 49er Packer football as well, bro. I appreciate you coming on.
No problem, man. Just let me know, man. We'll make it happen.
Enjoy your trip back to Cincy, man. I know it's a little drive from up there.
I know. I'm about to get on the road now, bro. I'm about to literally check out. Like, right as soon as I hang up with you, my guy. Yep.
All right, man. You have a good one.
All right, same to you.